For most of us, the idea of never having an antibiotic or painkiller is sheer fantasy. But nutritionist O'Meara says healthy food is enough.
According to Cyndi, we can eat our way to health if only we just stop counting calories and concentrating on one bad habit a week. She joins us to explain why we should toss out the microwave, dump the Frankenstein foods and indulge in real milk, cream, sugar and eggs. Good morning, Cyndi.
Good morning, Cyndi. And you've won me over straight away when you said chocolate cake is okay.
Yeah, as long as it's made with the right ingredients. And that's where we're falling down, is that most cakes are made with hydrogenated vegetable oil, fake eggs, white salt, white sugar, cocoa flavouring, cocoa colour. Instead
Essence to cocoa?
Yeah, anything like that. No real chocolate in it, compared to if you make it at home, if you've got good ingredients, organic unbleached white flour, butter, Rapadura sugar, real eggs, real cocoa, real milk.
What's Rapadura
sugar?
I've never heard of that.
Well, it's a sugar that's just coming into its own at the moment, which is great. And it's a sugar that all they do is juice the sugar cane and then dehydrate it. It doesn't go through all the processes of adding lime and canola oil and icing sugar to what we call organic sugar, but it's just the sugar that's been dehydrated. It's brilliant. It's got vitamins and minerals in it.
Is this what's happened? I remember when I was a kid, a long time ago, when I was a kid at school, the fat kid was a rarity. What's changed in our food? It's all these additives, is it?
It's the ingredients have changed. Like when I went to school, I went to a Catholic all-girls school. There was one fat girl in the school that I remember. There were 600 kids in the school. And we ate chocolate eclairs, we ate meat pies, we had vanilla slices, and we would go home from school and we'd get 20 cents worth of hot chip, put salt and vinegar on it and walk home. And these days, our kids are eating similar foods, but what the difference is what's actually in the food. There's no butter in the food anymore. There's no real foods in it. It's all technology-driven foods that have advanced in the last 20 years due to science. See, science has looked down the barrel of a microscope and gone, aha, salt causes hypertension, let's take everybody off salt. Then it was eggs, and then it was butter, and then it was meat, and then it was cheese, and then it was milk.
Yeah, because pretty much every week you read something in a newspaper that's going to kill you or upset your heart or something.
Yeah, and what I think's happened is that science has said we can do better than nature, let's change it. So they took butter out of our diet and they gave us margarine. And we now know that hydrogenated vegetable oil, or margarine as it's known, has got trans fats in it. And, you know, for 20 years we've known the dangers of trans fats, but it's only hitting the newspapers now. It's only hitting the airways now.
So we need, and your book is all about this, we need to get back to the natural food.
Yeah, back to what we ate 25, 30 years ago.
Is that more expensive?
No, like...
Is it possible?
It's very possible. So we go away from technology-driven foods and we just go natural, because everybody's going organic and everyone's saying it's too expensive, I can't do it. Well, all I want people to do is go away from technology-driven foods such as modified milks, breakfast cereals, artificial sweeteners, margarine. Go away from those foods and let's get back to natural foods. Butter, real flour, real milk that's not been homogenised, skim trim, rev shape, whatever they do to our milk.
Lighted.
Yeah, real sugar like Rapadura sugar, real salt like sea salt. These are foods that are found in your grocery store. Then, if you want to go a bit further, then go organic.
All right, well, you mentioned that organics are expensive. If you could change just a handful, if you could afford to change just a handful of foods, would it be sugar, flour, butter?
Yeah, the basics. Well, I find butter's a little bit expensive organic, but not, your milk isn't, your flour isn't, your sugar isn't, your organic tomatoes, tinned tomatoes aren't, your organic legumes aren't, like the tinned chickpeas, kidney beans. They're all are on a comparable range to the normal ones, so why not change them anyway? And then if you want to go a bit further, go to your eggs, although, you know, I still want to see them come down in price, and with more demand, we'll see the price come down. Like when I first started doing this 15, 20 years ago, it was outrageous to buy those foods. But now I'm finding, you know, they're a comparable price.
We can find them. You said that they are available in the supermarkets. But the trouble is, it's very hard to understand if they're the real deal because of food labelling, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're not regulated here in Australia with organic. Aquis does have some companies under them that regulate organic foods for the overseas market, and some of those markets stay here in Australia as well. So they're really the ones that we should be looking at, and you just have to go to the Aquis website and you'll find the symbols. And when you have those symbols, you know they're organic. If they're not there, then anyone can put organic on it.
Yes.
And like I look at some of the foods in the supermarket at the moment that are organic, but they've been homogenised. The milk's been homogenised. I think, what's the point of that? So really check that even though it says organic, it's still in its natural state, because they're making technology foods organic, which to me doesn't make any sense.
It's almost like the kind of the dumbed down version of that is in its look for food in its absolute simplest form.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
So if you take, let's say, a rice cracker, or not even a rice cracker, let's take a twisty.
Yes.
You know, a twisty's made from corn or rice. All right, just keep going back through the stages. Why not just have, you know, something that's more... So a cracker, a rice cracker might be a little bit better, although these days they're so commercially made, I don't like most of them. And then keep going back to rice. So yes, get to the original form. Try and get back to the way we used to eat. You know, our great-grandparents ate.
I was keen and interested to read about cholesterol in your book, because you claim that cholesterol isn't as bad as we think, or low levels of cholesterol are actually damaging.
Yes, yeah, we need cholesterol to function. Like, we have cholesterol to increase cortisol, which is our stress hormone. And if you don't have the amount of cholesterol you need to create the cortisol, then you're not going to be able to cope with stress. And by artificially bringing cholesterol down, then you don't cope with stress as well. I'm very much into... our cholesterol does go up and down with our stress loads and with the foods that we eat. And if we just look at the foods that we're eating to begin with, like, I think what happens is you go in and you say, oh, your cholesterol's up, you better get it down. And we don't look at our lifestyle, we just look at a pill that'll help us get it down. But if you don't cope with your lifestyle, then you're not going to cope with that cholesterol coming down.
What do you think when you see all of these diets, like, you know, the protein-only diet or the Pridkin diet, or what do you think when you see those diets that are all about eliminating a particular food from your diet?
Well, we've been through every diet, I'm sure. I don't think there's any more that we can get through. You know, we've had the high carbohydrate, low fat, high protein, no fat. We've been through them all, and every single diet that we go on these days is going to have this. How am I allowed any of that? Am I allowed a percentage of that? What's the grams of that? How many calories can I have? And we're not addressing quality. We're addressing quantity. And what I do in the book, Changing Habits, Changing Lives, is I address quality of our food. And if we deal with the quality of our food and it's good, then our body has the nutrition that it needs and it has no more cravings. So when people say to me, I don't have a good willpower, I say, well, you're trying to go against an instinct that your body has to tell you to eat. And when you eat good food, you don't have cravings anymore. When you eat bad foods like chips and chocolate, you want another packet of chips because you haven't given the body what it needs, which is vitamins and minerals.
And you maintain this approach has kept you from requiring painkillers or antibiotics or anything like that?
Well, my dad was a pharmacist, so he knew what medications were all about back in the 50s. And when he saw what was happening with this and the dependence people had on it, he decided that he would bring us up very differently. So when we had a pain, we had to deal with the pain so we could deal with the big pains in life. If we had an infection, we had to deal with the infection so we could deal with the big infections in life. And I'm 47 this year and I've never ever had an antibiotic, a Panadol, an aspirin. My kids are 18, 16 and 13 and they've never had an antibiotic, a Panadol, an anti-inflammatory. And we've had broken bones and we've had pains and motorbike accidents and horse accidents, but
it's extraordinary.
This is the way we were brought up.
Well, there's something in that. There's something in it, isn't there?
Every time we talk about this sort of thing, it sounds complex, but in this book, it's really simplified it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you for your time.